But let's bring in Amit Shah, then technical research analyst at Indiabulls Ventures, joining in this afternoon. Amit, it's quite a painful picture on the street at the moment. It's a 2% cut coming in for the Nifty. In fact, this is the biggest intraday fall that we've seen in several months, even at the index level, and individual stocks like a Reliance to begin with coming under severe pressure at the moment. Talk to us about what you're seeing on the charts, because many crucial levels have already been given up.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, of course, everybody on the street is definitely convinced that, we are in sort of a bear market, and of course we are seeing such big sell-offs not seen for a long time. So it's kind of a capitulation happening in a lot of stocks, margin calls, etc. being triggered. So yes, definitely it's very painful. But having said that, I think the kind of zone that we are at, see, 10,500, 10,600, to my mind is a very important zone. Even if it were to break, my sense is that we'll at least attempt a relief rally from here. So if even for today, if we were to start trading above 10,660 on the cash Nifty, chances are that we'll attempt that will be the initiation of a pullback relief rally, which could get started. So yes, while things are not good, but you also have to realize that this is not the place to short the market. Of course, you'll hear all people talking about shorts, but I think this is not the place to go short. In fact, probably if markets, it is trying to probably, but if it starts trading about 10,660 kind of a zone, it could attempt a pullback which could take Nifty towards again 11,000 on the upside.
Okay. We will just speak with Ashutosh Mishra of Reliance Securities in a couple of minutes on ICICI Bank. So hang on, Ashutosh. I just want to get a couple of quick calls on the big newsmakers of the day. Reliance, what's the call on this one? Because definitely that's the big concern coming in. Top point-wise loser on the street, contributing 64 points to the Nifty fall right now. And really, Amit, this stock had held on in the recent correction, hadn't seen that kind of selling, but heavy selling on Reliance. What is that indicative of, and of course the levels to watch out for on Reliance?
Sure. Yes, of course today we are seeing sharp cut in Reliance Industries, and that's been the feature of this market, that the stocks which had held and were supporting the market have eventually given up, but this could be this could not be looked into a probably a bigger trend. This could be probably the last leg of their sell-off. Reliance Industries has support around 1100, and this is one stock which I'm quite bullish on. Of course, being bullish in such markets doesn't sound good to a lot of people, but the Reliance Industries is something which I like. This is the time where actually not traders, but investors who are looking to build their portfolios, looking to pick some value buying, get some returns, maybe next 2-3 months kind of a time frame. Those are the people who should be looking to buy in such a scenario. So yeah, around 1100 is a support zone for Reliance, and I do see stock coming back once the scare is kind of done with.
Okay, just hang on there, Amit. Ashutosh Kumar is on the phone line with us. He's on the ground in New Delhi, where the finance minister is slated to speak in just about 20 minutes. Ashutosh, rising anticipation that possibly some big announcement is coming, including an excise duty cut. What are you picking up?
Well, yes, that is what is widely anticipated over here. In fact, when we first got to know about Finance Minister Arun Jaitley's briefing at 3 p.m., we did not have any idea as to what this briefing could be. And we asked our official sources in the Finance Ministry, who were essentially tight-lipped about what the content of the briefing is going to be. But when we asked around more, the sense that we have got is that there could be some possible announcement of some measures on containing the oil prices. That is what has been indicated to us. what we need to really understand over here is that the government had been addressing the pain points in various sectors of the economy. Earlier, we have seen efforts that were taken on sugar. We have seen how efforts were taken on both Rabi and Kharif crop. And this particular issue had been one of the issue which had been hurting the common man very much, and that's why the government seems to have finally taken some cognizance of this issue. I may also tell you over here that shortly, a short while before, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley held a meeting with Petroleum Secretary and other Petroleum Ministry officials. So that's precisely the reason why we are essentially thinking in terms of some major announcement coming on the oil front. In fact, if I can take you through some very important numbers as far as the excise duty structure on petrol is concerned. The excise duty on petrol is rupees 19.48 per litre and rupees 15.33 per litre on diesel. And government hiked the excise duty by 11.77 per litre on petrol and 13 rupees per litre on diesel between 2014 and 16. And there had been only one cut which was effected last year in October. So now what we are given to believe from our sources that the government may announce some cut as far as the duty structure on petroleum products is concerned. We are given to believe that this could be in the range of 4 to 5 rupees per litre on both petrol and diesel, or there could be differential rate for both these products. Okay. More details, of course, we'll have once the briefing is done by FM.
All right, so 4 to 5 rupees per litre, that would be the kind of cut that we're looking at here. Of course, the expectation is of an excise duty cut when the Finance Minister addresses us. Ashutosh, thanks very much for taking us through those details. Only about 15 odd minutes to go for that briefing, and we'll continue to bring you those updates. But at the moment, let's put the focus really on what's turning into the stock of the day. And ICICI Bank, it's a 4.5% up move as we speak. This is the top gainer on the Nifty. It's the top gainer on the Bank Nifty, and earlier in the day it was trading under pressure, in fact, and you can see it's really what's buoying the Bank Nifty, at least for the moment. The Bank Nifty only seeing cuts of about 1% as we speak off the lows. Let's bring in Ashutosh Mishra, then the expert really, to talk about all that's going on with ICICI Bank. Ashutosh, good afternoon to you. Good to have you on. A surprise announcement coming in this afternoon that Chanda Kochhar will be stepping down. Her resignation has been accepted by the board, and Sandeep Bakshi will continue as MD and CEO for the next 5 years. Break this down for us. Obviously, it looks like the market is taking it as very, very good news. Is it simply the end of uncertainty here, or do you think that this is a directional change for ICICI Bank?
So you can say this is a directional change also for the bank, because there was some uncertainty that how really things will pan out for the banks going forward from here. But now Sandeep Bakshi already is spent 3 to 4 months there in the bank. So it's and we have seen that the first investor commentary, he has outlined the plan also. So it's a positive development for the bank from the medium to long term perspective.
Do you think that overhang now has gone away, Ashutosh, and therefore, yes, markets are volatile, so maybe that the stock may remain volatile for a while, but this would be a good time to get into an ICICI Bank? Okay, a bit of an issue with Ashutosh's phone line. We'll try and connect back with him. But let me just put that question to Amit as well. On the charts, Amit, I mean, it had gone all the way to about 260, 250 odd levels when this crisis started. Since there, it's been a strong recovery. In a weak market like today, it's not doing too badly, although, of course, last few days, this too had fallen in line with the others. What's the technical view on an ICICI Bank?
Sure. Yeah. So while this is of course a news-driven move, but if it sustains and closes towards the high of the day, then today would be a very, very bullish and a reversal kind of a candle. Probably today's just a marginal downtick in the morning can now be considered as a false move, So I wouldn't be surprised to, see the stock around 340 levels, provided it's a news-based event and we need a good closing for it today. But it seems so, as in the later part of the trade, it's happening. So chances are that it will sustain. and we can see levels of 340 on the upside. And also it is happening from a very oversold levels for the Bank Nifty itself. Bank Nifty was kind of showing some resilience on the downside. So yeah, I think overall it's positioned well for further gains.
Okay, that is the view. In fact, the Bank Nifty has seen a very sharp recovery from the lows of the day right now. It's still down about 1%, but a smart recovery from the lows of the day on the Bank Nifty right now. In fact, in a market like this, this is the highs of the day. It's still a % cut, mind you. It's at the highs of the day. ICICI Bank definitely helping there. Ashutosh Mishra is back with us. Ashutosh, I was just asking you, do you feel that the overhang on the stock has gone away? And if markets stabilize, then of course ICICI could be one of the leaders?
Yeah, so overhang of the stock has definitely gone away, and now there is a clarity on the management and as well as asset quality pain is probably the other on the last leg of clearing up the balance sheet. So that will be a quite positive development in the overall scenario if you look forward.
Right, Ashutosh, let me ask you then, the reason we saw that big fall in the stock was obviously on the back of many of these allegations that have been made in terms of corporate governance. The Justice Sri Krishna probe has not been completed. The results are not in. We can read what we might into the fact that Chanda Kochar has offered her immediate resignation. Maybe something has been uncovered by the probe. Do you think, for investors who might be looking to get into ICICI Bank at these levels, that remains a key risk as far as this stock is concerned?
See, you have to look from the perspective what will hit the bank if suppose there will be any problem or any issues come out of this probe. So the most important point is the provisioning. So new management team has already started increasing the provisioning coverage ratio. They have quite indicated that for the whole year of FY19, provisioning coverage will keep on going up, and they will focus on increasing the PCR rather than declaring the profitability. So that is a right intent in the right direction. So I don't see that profitability to be returned on a sustainable path for the bank in the next 1 or 2 quarters. But that will be the right thing to do in the current scenario. As and when you provide, then whatever the probe may reveal, but there will be no hit on the bank's P&L. Bank's P&L will only hit if the bank will not provide on many of these loans or allegations which is there.
What's your call and what's your target on the stock, and will you be reviewing that upwards?
So at this point of time, we have a whole target on the bank with a price target of 325. Stock is hovering around the same level. We will review our call post the second quarter results.
All right. Thanks so much, Ashutosh, for joining in for a quick call on an ICICI Bank. 4% up at the highs of the day. The Bank Nifty, like I said, is also seeing a bit of a recovery right now. Another 0.2%, it's moved up, now down only about 7 to 0.8%. Even the Nifty is off the lows of the day and has reclaimed the 10,650 mark, 10,620 it's at. So about a 40-point recovery coming in on the Nifty from the levels that we started this show at. Of course, the low of the day has been at 10,570. The high of the day is 10,754. So we are still about 80 points away from the highs, but nonetheless a smart recovery playing out on some of these names as we speak. The point-wise contribution, of course, continues to favor the bears, but you are seeing strength come in from ICICI Bank, providing much-needed downside support. Axis Bank, L&T, Ultratech, M&M, Tata Steel, Yes Bank, and Indiabulls are some of the stocks that are helping the markets hold up right now. Reliance, though, continues to languish under pressure, but it is off by about 1% from the lows of the day. Still a cut of 5.5% on that. Let's take a very quick break. We will come back, put more of these stocks under the spotlight with Amit Shah, discuss some of his trading ideas as well, and put the spotlight on some of the auto names which have really been beaten down lately. Back in 2 minutes.
Welcome back. You're watching the trading day. The Nifty is seeing quite a smart recovery, but once again we're giving into some bit of pressure. In fact, if you just pull up the intraday of the Nifty, you can see that we're down about 1%, but still we're off the lows quite significantly. 10,660 is where we're trading as far as the benchmark is concerned, and there is the Bank Nifty that's providing some support here. ICICI Bank has seen a big jump, but Amit, let's talk about an Axis Bank as well as a Yes Bank. Yes Bank has consistently been seeing recovery session after that deep cut that we saw, on the back of the RBI rules for their MD and CEO, but an Axis Bank has also been holding out consistently in spite of the overall pressure we've been seeing in the financial space. Comment on both these charts. Do you expect more upside still?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, Axis Bank, as we talk, is showing signs of recovery, and my sense is this recovery should last for a trading move, and something like a 605, 610 is very much possible on Axis Bank. Yes Bank has actually recovered. I've been tracking this stock since past week very closely, and between 170 175 was a zone which was looking like a very promising zone, and the zone which could act as a very strong support. It did marginally break that one, but yes, a process of recovery has started for Yes Bank. It's now showing a very good resilience. Even in today's market, it has held very well. Yes Bank can head towards the levels of 240 to 250 on the upside. So yes, there's still more upside left for the Yes Bank, and broadly, even the Bank Nifty and possibly even Nifty could turn from here. So maybe in the short term, probably though very initial signs, but maybe the worst may be over.
Bit of pullback move definitely seems to be on the cards, because you're seeing that at least play out on the Bank Nifty for the moment. It's recouped some lost ground right now. It's down about 1% though, still in trade. Just pull up the aviation stocks. A very interesting movement happening over there. Possible news or possible reports or possible rumors of some kind of a relief package being considered for the industry. And of course, now that the government is talking of an excise cut on fuel, maybe some pass-through benefits also could be considered on ATF, which would aid these stocks. You're seeing a good move on all three of your aviation names. Jet is up about 5.5%, Interglobe is up about 4.5%, and a similar move on a SpiceJet right now as well. Amit, I don't know if you want to take a call or not. Jet very volatile off late. Today could just be a pullback or in fact a news-based reaction we're seeing on that stock. But what are you making of that, and Indigo as well?
Yes, actually I've been tracking Jet for past 2-3 days, and actually even yesterday it did show some intention of moving up. Today again, in spite of such a bad day, it did not even breach or even attempt its previous day's low, and now it is actually kind of showing some sign of strength. So my sense is Jet Airways possibly, see, it has done it has been probably one of the biggest laggards, and one of the worst performing stocks on the downside. But in the near term, a trading pullback is definitely looking like a possibility, and I see the stock heading towards 220 to 225 on the upside. So a sizable upside could come on Jet Airways.
All right, so good see that stock moving up at least 225 levels or even higher. Many of these financial names that were under pressure earlier in the session are seeing quite a smart recovery. If you look at some of the mid-cap names, and M&M Finance, L&T Finance, Muthoot Financials, all these stocks are off the lows as we speak. We're also seeing some of those PSU banks that were trading under pressure back in positive territory, and keep an eye on an IDBI bank as well. There was a board meet held this morning, and of course they have approved issuing the preferential shares to an LIC. On the back of that, we're seeing a good move on IDBI Bank as well. But Amit, I do want to ask you about one of the large cap names that's been holding out throughout the course of the day. That is an L&T. We're still trading with gains of about 1%. A few fundamental triggers for this one. Of course, their subsidiary has received a big order win from ONGC, and of course they've also set the buyback price, and that's been set at 14.75. It's still a premium from where it's trading at the moment as well. But on the charts, give us the technical view here. Where can we expect to see this move ahead of the buyback?
I'm not too convinced about the move on the L&T, because if you look, it's been at best you can see, there's a good support for the stock around 1220 kind of levels. Probably it might still stay in a range. It's still not showing that promise of building the up move, and today's high also, it's trading significantly off those highs, so it's not showing promise unless and until, of course, it closes, the move catches up and it closes towards the high, highs of the day. But today's move is not very encouraging for L&T.
All right, Lancelot Dacona is also joining in. Lancelot, good to have you. Finance Minister is going to speak shortly. Speculation rife on the street that you are looking at an excise duty cut and possibly a significant excise duty cut. Put that in perspective for us, both in terms of market sentiment, because of course this is one of the things that's been weighing us down, and whether this will materially change anything in terms of what happens going forward from here.
I think, market sentiment cannot change merely by the fact that there's an excise duty cut, because I think the market sentiment can be changed only if maybe some major things come off, like maybe crude prices or the exchange, the rupee begins to strengthen. Then you could see some kind of change in the market as such. The excise cut would only help ease the pain for the domestic consumer, and that might have a minor impact on certain kinds of stocks. But more important, we need to watch whether there is any attempt to make the oil marketing companies also share some subsidy burden or some burden of the increased price. So that's an important thing to see, and based on that, probably the oil marketing companies could either sell off, or if there's no impact, you will see them gain price momentum again.
All right, I think if we do see that announcement come in, will definitely be read as good news for the market. As it is, Lancelot, we're off the lows at the moment, and one of the big contributors is an ICICI Bank. Quite a surprise announcement coming in there that the MD and CEO has resigned. Take me through your reading of this news. Like I was just discussing, with some of our guests earlier, this doesn't mean that the Justice Sri Krishna probe has come in with its results. There are still a lot of unknowns there, even though the market is reading the fact that there's less uncertainty about the succession plan as good news.
Well, I think markets do not like uncertainty, and whenever there is uncertainty, you will always see people defer their investment decisions. So now that we are clear that that Chandra Kochar has resigned, I think the certainty is clear, and the stock can then see people looking forward as to what is the likely outcome. And that has helped the stock recover, because finally when you look at valuations, you are looking at a very cheap valuation, and the uncertainty was only helping prolong the low valuation. So the moment you have clarity on this, I think we will start seeing the markets factor in that clarity. And once the new CEO begins to outline what are the roadmap for growth, etc., we will begin to see the stock again move up ahead.
Right. Just pull up the aviation counters again, because definitely now markets are beginning to anticipate a cut in fuel excise. 11% up on a Jet Airways right now, reflecting on your screen. Pull up Indigo and SpiceJet as well. Last we checked, Indigo was up 4.5%. It's gone up more than 2% since that level. Now nearly 7% up in trade, and similarly you're seeing a move on SpiceJet as well right now. 10% up on that counter. So markets are now beginning to price in, or rather anticipate, an excise cut on fuel. This is something that we are anticipating, and the Finance Minister's press conference is likely to begin in a short while from now as well. 12% up on a Jet Airways. It's just adding momentum by the second over here, and it's visible on your screens as well. 12.5% right now. Amit, it looks like your target has already come. Do you want to revise a call on Jet Airways now at 200?
No, I think, see, after a very, very long time, a move is building up. So I would say this is just the start, and we can easily see another 20-30 bucks fairly easily on Jet Airways. So I would let it run, and I think there's some money, some further money to be made here.
Just to Jet Airways, we're seeing a 13.5%, 14% jump on that one. Pull up an Interglobe Aviation as well. It's a very similar move. Come in with the levels that you are keeping your eye on, Amit, for an Interglobe.
One second. Interglobe can also have a move towards 870 kind of a levels, but I think in this phase probably the one that had done the worst would probably perform the worst. Probably perform the best as far as a trading pullback is concerned. So bets are on Jet Airways.
All right. In fact, we are just waiting for that press conference to begin in a very short while from now, and markets are building up that anticipation clearly, and it's playing out on your screen. Nifty is also off the lows of the day. Maybe some kind of a sentimental impact is likely. Those are live visuals coming in where the finance minister's briefing is likely to start in a very short while from now. And just pull up the aviation counters once again, because that's clearly where the action is right now. Remember, this doesn't have any material impact on the oil marketing companies in terms of how their functioning goes, but the direct beneficiary is the aviation counters, and they too are running up quite smartly right now. 12% on a Jet, 6% on an Interglobe, and similar move coming in on a SpiceJet right now as well. We will be, of course, getting you close details of that press conference and the review analysis after that as well. Amit, just a couple of more stocks to talk about right now. IT is falling like a pack of cards. TCS recently hit fresh life highs, but from those levels it's reversed, and reversed quite smartly, and it's happening across the IT universe as well. The mid-cap IT names are also beginning to correct. Is the best of the run in IT over, or is it just market playing catch up with IT right now?
See, I think in this phase of the market, the kind of capitulation we have seen across the board, margin calls getting triggered, etc. So I think wherever investors had profits on the table, those have been taken. Now, how far it can go is a little bit of, but yes, surely the near-term momentum for IT stocks has been punctured. While broadly, I'm quite bullish on IT, but in the near term, I think it does show some signs of near-term worries. So I would not be very keen on IT for a punt or for near-term pullback.
All right, chart's looking fairly weak as far as IT stocks are concerned. Lancelot, I do want to get your view on how you are viewing some of these stocks, considering the way they've run up already in the year and the correction that we've seen most recently. But we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, talk about these IT stocks, also talk about auto stocks that have been seeing sustained selling pressure in the market as well. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You are watching the trading day right here on Business Television India. The market is still under pressure. The Nifty is back below 10,650, so that's an important level to keep your eye on. It's a 2% cut coming in for the Nifty. Sectorally, if we look at it, apart from the energy stocks, it is IT where we're seeing the most amount of pressure. And Lancelot, let's talk about some of these IT stocks, because this was really pegged as the year for IT and a little bit for pharma as well. Select stocks, the Tech Mahindra, for example, it's still up about 55% in the year so far. Names like Wipro, HCL Tech, not too far off their life highs, at least their highs for the year as well. How are you looking at the correction that we've seen most recently? Would you suggest this as an opportunity for investors to get into IT?
I think you've got to look at the correction in the light of the 55 and 60% rise that we've seen so far. A lot of it was to do with the turnaround in the business model, as well as there was significant improvement in the cash flows of the companies. But however, valuations have moved up in expectations of further growth, especially in the light of the depreciation of the rupee. So at the current valuations, I think most of the positives have got factored into the stocks prices, and probably if we do see some negative surprises in terms of a slowdown or order wins not happening as anticipated, then that could lead to some kind of price correction. So from an investor perspective, I think this is not really the time to enter, though there has been a minor correction. But in case we do see a larger or deeper correction, then valuations would again come back to reasonable levels, and I think that could be an opportunity to buy, because clearly most of these IT companies are focusing on digital income and digitization as their major driver in terms of revenues and profits. So we can expect that area to move forward. But I would probably wait for the results which are out next week, and then take a better call.
That's the finance minister on your screens right there. He's going to talk about many things, but of course the expectation is, the big one is on fuel excise duty cut. That's what the market has been anticipating. That's why you have seen that run up already in the aviation counters at the bottom of your screen there, 12.5% up on